Hello, this is Captain Poodle speaking. Are you ready to find love?
Yes, ahoy, matey.
Love. Exciting and new. Go online. They're catfishing you.
Shocker.
Fiancé.
Soon you'll be flying to parts unknown.
90-day fiancé.
Marrying someone you only met on your phone.
Be they French or Chinese, a brand new K1 visa's the key.
Ooh, the key to what, Poodle?
To love.
It's reality gaze. Let's love. When they say when you marry in June, you're a bride. Oh, you're. I want to get married at sunset, bitch.
You know, it's
Yo,
the
it's a
only
gay
thing
wedding.
you want.
I'm Team Kenny on this.
Me too. Me too.
I'm Team Kenny. Yo, this is reality gays. Welcome to what is
This is
Poodle?
reality gaze. This is Toe. This is fucking motherfucking Toe.
This is Toe. Just one of the best seasons of 90 Day Fiancé we've had in a long time.
We deserved this after last Happily Ever After.
Oh, we really, really did. Y'all, this is Toe, season part 2 for us of season 3, 3 episode 10.
What was the name of this episode?
This is just Stop the Excuses. It reminds me of Susan Powder. Stop the insanity.
Insanity.
Oh,
You
y'all,
know, if you know who Susan Powder is, you old. You old now. If you know who Susan Powder is, you have lower back pain. Or you know who Susan Powder is, you have to take a moment before you get up out of the bed. That was a relic in time with her crazy short haircut.
I think y'all remember when it was y'all think about this for you youngins. Maybe it still is, but I don't think it is. Probably depends where you are. But it was controversial, and albeit I can't think of the right word where you'll think of it, but where you're against the norm. But it was for a woman to cut her hair short and dye it blonde like a man.
Yeah,
was
very
just
kind of classic. Yeah.
Yes. It was such a big deal then. Now we'd be agree. Sure. Anyway.
Yeah. And shockingly, she became a lesbian, or she came out as a lesbian a couple years ago.
Good for her. Y'all, so real quick, we remind you of our Linktree links. You can buy tickets to Live Laugh Live Tour.
Our Live Laugh Live Tour.
We're very excited. We're about a week and a half away. 2 weeks away, actually. 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
From our first live show in Los Angeles.
show. I'm terrified a little bit because you've been out of town, and so I've had more time to stew about because I get in my head about things like this, y'all. I've got when you get back, I've got all kinds of hoops you're going to have to jump through.
It's fine, of course. God loving, but Papa Mar fucked us because he decided to have cancer shit rear up in the middle of all this. But hey,
your father's cancer ruining my life again.
I've got like 3 more days, and then I told my brother, he's yours. I have to go to LA and work, bitch.
We have to do a live show. It's
so we'll see.
It's we've got planning to do, y'all, and I won't tell you what they are, but we have 2 new merch tour only t-shirt designs that are coming at you.
You're acting like they're going to be ready. We waited so to the last minute. We're kind of praying that they show up, y'all. We might just have mugs. The mugs came in.
The mugs are there.
But that's maybe all we have.
But these are the classic mugs that we haven't had for a while.
You can only get. you can only get, actually. These are the mugs we used to sell when y'all would buy a mug, and I would keep them in the trunk of my car, and I'd use my cubicle warrior job to ship them out for free because we couldn't afford the shipping.
And you complain about having to take them down there. Yeah, I remember those days.
Oh, those days, yeah. Anyway, y'all, we've got that poodle. Anything else? Oh, our Bi-Curious
episode. It's not coming this week because I'm going to blame cancer for this as well.
It's my father's cancer.
It'll be coming next week, probably next Saturday, I think. So the first week in November will be the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. We'll tell you specifically what episode to watch.
Yeah, that's for everybody at the $5 tier on our Patreon and Super Cast. And again, if you don't want commercials, you can subscribe to the $8 tier, and you won't have to listen to the commercials if you don't want those.
Other than that, live show. There is maybe still. I think it's already our charity for the month, the Jamie Kimball Foundation. I finally said it right. Right,
yeah,
Jamie Kimball. With
it.
Okay.
Yeah. I just saw an article on the City Squad about a woman I posted about a woman trying to leave and she was killed. And that's the most dangerous time for women often to leave an abusive relationship, or is when they leave. And that's what happened to Jamie Kimball. So if you go in our Facebook group, click on the announcements. Haven't raised a lot of money, so we'd love to raise a little bit more. And we're going to have a new charity coming out in November.
Yeah. So this is October was domestic abuse domestic violence and abuse awareness month. And also was quite timely because someone who we never covered, Jeffrey, was found guilty on all those charges. So the system works. The system called reciprocity.
Reciprocity.
Yes. Thank you, Mama Morton.
Give me a vamp. I love a vamp. Oh. That's when I'll feel like I've made it. When I'm doing a show on Broadway.
To be Mama Morton.
Oh, yes. I was going to say on Broadway, but I meant Palm
Springs.
Okay, not even off Broadway, Palm Springs. But when the orchestra.
That's the best you're going to get.
When the orchestra. I'm sorry, the pianist, the karaoke track has an 8-bar vamp that I can talk to the audience to. And I'll be like, hey, y'all, how you doing today in Palm Springs? Oh, Cathedral City, good to see ya.
And someone just goes, get to the song.
That's when I'll know I've made it.
A vamp is quite freeing. I will say we do a lot of vamping in our show Cabaret, and we do a lot of vamping.
And we do a lot of vamping
and a lot of camping.
Speaking of gay, let's get to it. Let's talk about Kenny and Armando.
Wedding drama. I was waiting for when the gay wedding drama was going to happen.
Me too.
So
they're going to meet the wedding planners first. The one poodle wants to fuck.
Hugo and Carlos. Oh my God, he's so hot. So there's talking about.
I would get sandwiched by both of them because Hugo's got a big, thick dick, y'all.
It's a really thick dick. Carlos, it's okay. Ooh. It doesn't matter. He only takes it.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Poodle's got to be in the middle of that Bob Fosse fucking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's that whole thing. Y'all, if you're watching an intimate portrait, I actually stood up and I'm doing
Fuckography, really.
Fuckography. If you're not watching our intimate portrait on our $15 tier, you're missing out.
Actually, that was really gross. No one needed to see that.
Okay, so this venue is gorgeous.
Yeah, the winery.
Yeah, they're on this beautiful vineyard, and Kenny's like, I met Armando at a winery, and he said, this would be a really beautiful place to get married one day. And I took the hint.
I think you have to really drive something home for Kenny to get it.
Maybe.
So they're talking about the only thing, y'all, that Kenny wants for this wedding. He's letting Armando choose everything out. They're talking about the cakes and they want a cake tasting. And the only thing he wants is the sunset wedding. And And all of a sudden, and the wedding queens, let's call them that, just like wrinkle up their faces and get real judgy. So he's like, I don't know. You don't know how we do things here. Already, y'all, they're just venomous.
It's
And
not how it
Armando,
is in Mexico. Sorry.
Armando plays into it too. So, and I kind of agree with Kenny. Armando completely got all Mexican mean girl on them because they're like, you're thinking American, and they're like, he's like, so I saw on the invoice sheet, Kenny said, that the DJ was booked for 6 hours,
and Kenny was like, in America,
3 hours.
Weddings end like after 2 or 3 hours, and then they all go, oh.
We don't do that in Mexico.
And Kenny's Armando says, yeah, we're going to be up to like 3 a.m.
And I'm sure.
That sounds horrible to me.
It sounds horrible to me too. I'm gonna be drunk by 9:30, and probably throw up once, and then come back, get drunk again. I'll definitely be passed out by 11.
Yes.
Yeah. So, they
pregnant by midnight.
Pregnant.
Pregnant.
So. They kind of made the case for this, and if I was Kenny, I think I would have pushed a little more for this. I kind of would have, and I think, why not have the wedding at sunset, or what they could do is have some type of vow recitation during, maybe if you have the ceremony earlier and do one special vow thing at sunset. But basically the problem is they're having, you guys, is they need to say the wedding needs to start in the afternoon at like 3 or 4, because otherwise they're not going to have their 6-hour DJ set.
Because of the I don't know why. Because of the pandemic, they have to end at midnight. I don't know why. This makes no sense to me. Why we have to end a wedding at midnight because of the pandemic.
I also want to say that the most important thing to the couple is the ceremony. So,
to Kenny, I don't know if it is to Armando. We're assuming that he never said.
Yeah, that's true.
And so Kenny is like, well, what's the latest we want to do the ceremony? And Armando just looks at him and says, yeah, I don't want to push it. Like, that's not going to work.
He's like, it has to be in the afternoon.
He's like, if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. And I wrote, Armando is not handling this well.
And especially because they've just, you imagine that they've talked about it before. First of all, this is such a gay wedding problem.
It is a gay wedding problem.
It would be important to me if I had one thing I wanted, because honestly, I'm not going to be a bridezilla. I'm going to leave this up to planners. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to have like a couple things. I'll care about the music.
Yeah, me. I'm going to be very easygoing as well.
No, you're not. You're going to be a nightmare.
I'm going to be a nightmare. But I also, y'all, whether you're in a couples relationship or poodle, I've learned this in the business relationship. Sometimes just in friend relationships, if I'm not agreeing with, or if there's something that we're not seeing eye to eye on, whether it's with you or my relationship, I don't know, maybe it's my friend Angel gave me this advice. She was like, who cares about this more? Because sometimes Jake will say, I want to do this. And I'm like, I don't really want to do that. And then I go, oh, wait, Jake cares way more about this than I do. I actually really don't care that much about this. Yeah. And Armando doesn't care about this, but he needs to at least acknowledge that Kenny does.
Yeah. And when I let you know something means a lot, or for something we want to do, or for something I don't want to do, I'm telling you, this is important to me.
And Kenny tries to explain that even in the car, and Kenny can't get through to Armando in this. Armando's like, yeah, baby, this is sunset. We can't control sunset. And Kenny's trying to say, no, I'm trying to tell you I felt shut down. Y'all, when you're in a relationship,
feelings, not the sunset.
Come on, because when you had been dating someone, how many times have you either, and I don't want to say the word act, but at least acknowledge a person's feelings about something they cared about when you really gave two shits? That happened.
Yes, because it's much easier than having a full fight about it.
Yeah, I think And actually, I think Kenny. I think if Armando would have said, even if Armando said, "Is there anything do y'all think we could do to accommodate that? Is that possible?" And then if they shut down Armando as well, and then even if Armando said, "Oh man, we're gonna have to think about that because that's really important to Kenny, and we're just gonna have to discuss it." Because I will say, Kenny seems to be in some things as nothing wrong with this. He's a slower processor. Where Armando's like,
sure.
okay, my ex-wife just chased me and ran a car. Like he is very much like, and I don't mean that to make fun. I mean, he very much things happen and he's like, you got to keep going. You got to keep going. Yeah. And Kenny is more of like, hey, let's stop. Let's feel this. Let's process this. And Armando just needs to learn to attune to him in that way.
I 100% agree with you.
Y'all are welcome for the couples therapy, gays. You didn't even have to pay us.
I also feel that it's a question of just validating. Y'all, I say this all the time. All anyone wants in this world is a little bit of validation. That's all we're looking for, is saying, I understand.
Yes.
I understand why you feel that way. I would feel that way probably if I were you too. And
Armando didn't validate his opinion at all.
Yeah, and that's all Kenny's really. And then it kind of ends with this. Armando does say, "I'm sorry, I didn't consider your feelings," and they kind of kiss and make up, and you can tell Kenny's not really over it.
Yeah, you can tell it's still kind of itching.
But and we've got bigger fish. We got bigger fish to fry. We got bigger fish to fry later on because
Aunt Brenda ruined the mood.
Aunt Brenda ruined the mood big time. But I want to say one more thing about the wedding with these bitchy wedding coordinator gays. They work for Kenny and Armando.
I agree.
And I'm like, listen, yes, you're going to have bitchy gays try to say, no, you need to do this. You need to do this. You need to do that. Bitch, you work for me. I'm paying you to do what I want. So if you're going to tell the most important thing for us, for me, as for Kenny, is to have those sunset vows, because I can only imagine how great pictures would be for that. And because they're gay, so they're going for the pictures. And I'm just like, queens, find a way.
Find a way. They could have some of the mariachi. Can't they have? They're going to hire, I think, a mariachi band. He said, and dancers. Couldn't they do some of that before? Like maybe Kenny and Armando are like, hey, we're actually going to see each other before the party, and like kind of like Kenny and Armando would sacrifice. They would kind of party and be with their guests and see one another, and then they would kind of have the ceremony in the. That's kind of a cool thing. Like, hey, everybody, we're going to meet you and greet you, and then we're going to have a ceremony. Like there still is, y'all. It's only. Kenny's only asking for 10 minutes.
It just feels like
if that they have 10-minute ceremony, take some pictures, and then they have like 7:30 to midnight to do whatever.
Yeah, I agree. It felt, and maybe it's a little bit amped up for that, but I would have told those vicious, venomous queens, look, it's going to be this, find a way.
That's what I would have said too. Because you know why? Mm-hmm. Your wedding planner is going to stress out anyway, y'all. You might as well give them something to stress about.
Something's going to make them in a slang hopped up on meth that night.
Yeah.
So Aunt Brenda
comes in. I almost spilled water on me.
Aunt Brenda comes in with a text that says, looks like I'm going to be staying with your mom in her room. And he's like, because your father's not coming. Because he's like, he tells Aunt Brenda this, that I want to be respectful. I want you to be respectful. No kissing or touching, blah, blah, blah. And she says, and Kenny says, we can't have this. It's very smart. And I'm glad he's saying things like this. He handled it perfectly. He's been kind of tiptoeing around it before. He's like, that's his problem. And we can't have this wedding for him. Armando's still not there yet.
He's not.
And I think if and he finally says, I did talk to my mom. Dad is not coming. And I just like, he's afraid to leave the house alone. He's afraid someone's going to rob the house. And Kenny's just listening. He's like, that's really rough. And he's like, I'll let you handle that. My feelings of this, I just, if you've got someone in your life who you're having to go out of your way just to make something happen to, let go of that string, let go of that rope.
Well, I know.
Is
it's
it
just
really that important if you're having to work so hard?
I agree with you, but it's just very hard when it's your father.
I get it. No, but like, look at the links to what they're having to go through.
Armando's having to tap dance so much because at this point they came out. He's met Kenny as Armando. Now, a problem with this is, and that breaks my heart. It's just kind of the way it was done. This isn't. They didn't do anything wrong, but it's just when I came out, I had people in my own family that said, "I love you. I'm happy for you. Found yourself. I don't really want to see it. I don't really want it in my face."
Yeah,
and they don't understand how
that version of. There is that version of life.
And that's where Kenny's dad is right now.
Armando's dad.
Cut to it. Who I feel sorry for more than Armando is in a way. I don't think his dad realizes what and I don't mean this as an excuse. He has no idea what the regret he's going to have by not going to this wedding, because I think down the road he would be totally fine with that, because he's going to really he's on the path to including Kenny in this relationship.
Right.
But y'all remember, I don't mean this as an excuse for his dad. Remember, this all happened so quickly within like a year.
It did.
He came back out to them. He met their boyfriend. They said the granddaughter that that's been raised in your home is going to the other side of the peninsula to live with us. He's moving down here. We're getting married. We're having a big wedding. This is we're getting a French bulldog. This is a lot. They're not getting a French bulldog, but this is a lot. Truffles would eat that bulldog alive.
We're starting a gay gymnastics troupe. Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. I guess my impulse is to say, let the father go.
But I agree. Like, if you're moving forward at this pace, then you need to acknowledge his pace, and it's not where you are.
And it's not with any malice that I say that. And I understand it's very upsetting, but there's a reason, you guys, why LGBT people have, quote, chosen families. Because your family is never, for a lot of families, you're an LGBT person, a lot of your natural families are never going to be able to catch up the way your chosen family are. Yeah. It's just never going to happen. And it's just, I don't think Armando's there yet, and he has, and there's not. I've always thought about this with Armando. There's not a lot of realism like there is with Kenny. And there is a little bit of fairy tale, Alina style fairy tale that he wants
a little bit,
and
it's all about him being scared too. He doesn't like confrontation. He is scared to. Yeah, I think a lot of it, he's scared to just call his father on it, which he actually ends up doing.
Yeah, and he does say, the father says, I'm not going to be comfortable with that. And the
wedding's a week away. The wedding's a week away.
That's right. It's a week away.
Yeah, it's a week away now.
But his father is thinking, my friends are going to be there, everyone who knows our family, and they're all going to be watching my son marry a man. And that's where he is in it. He's in his own personal shame of it.
It's about him. And honestly, it's not for Armando. I think it's for his dad. And honestly, because she's still married to him, it's for his mom to talk to and for them to work out. Because I have to say, if I had accepted my kid where they are and my husband said, I still don't want to go to that wedding, I would say, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Mom needs to step. But again, I'm coming from an American perspective. I don't know what it's like being married in a Mexican culture. Like maybe she doesn't say that to the man. And machismo and all that's a big deal.
But I'm just saying, I really believe this. If you're having to do all the heavy lifting to get a member of your family there, drop the rope, y'all. Yeah. It's not worth it to yourself. It's not worth it. Having them there and having so much stress. Learn to make peace with the fact and learn to say they might not be there, and I have to be okay with that.
Had to be okay. It did break my heart to hear Armando see that, and he started crying. It was, and Armando says, if he isn't there, I don't want to see him. I don't want to talk to him anymore because my dad can never get this back.
You know, someone who I don't want to see anymore.
Well, I know who it is. It's Ari, but y'all, we're going to go to commercial, and when we get back, again, we didn't want to be right, but here we are.
Here we are. Y'all remember that, I don't think it's a Batman villain, or maybe it's some, not Two-Face, but he would spin around his face, and it was a different one every time. Sometimes it was a clown face, and sometimes it was a sad face, and sometimes it was a surprise face.
You are talking about He-Man. That's He-Man. It was Manny Faces.
Wait, his name was Manny Faces?
Yes, Man-E Faces. Manny Faces.
Manny Faces. Boy, that's a terrible name.
I just got it. It's Many Faces. Love Manny Face. Loved He-Man. Love the new reboot.
But that's Ari in the moment. There's just a different, either whether it's makeup or a procedure.
I don't know continuity where we are.
I know. And there's
no idea.
And there's so many different in the moments with her.
Like she talks to her mom and her sister, who still lives with her mom as well. We can process that. I didn't understand that, but whatever. She talks to her mom and sister, and then the next thing she's talking to Bini about what her mom and sister said, and her face looked different, but also she's got a new mouth. And she's got all this other information as well.
Yeah, but the in the moments are all over the place. Like her makeup looks different. There's different lighting. Her face in general. And there's been a lot of talk on the internet saying she's had something done, and people were speculating about what it was. She's definitely had a little bit of fillers.
I mean, get whatever she looks great. Right. I have to say. She looks great, but it's just as a producer,
it's a continuity thing.
That's what drives me crazy.
That's what she's like, flips over and there's a new face.
They're like, okay, well, this was supposed to be the next day, Ari. She's like, yeah, well, my friend, she works at American Laser Center, and they were running this special, and I had to do it today before October 1st because then
there's always an excuse that she has to do something. Yeah.
Okay, so quickly, let's talk about it. Avi had surgery. Day. God, this baby is cute.
The baby's a really cute baby.
And there's really not, we're going to get to it. They have surgery.
Janice is being the emotional support animal that she needs to be. Now, and she said this, and Janice says, I think this was a good idea, her coming here to do the surgery. And I agree, because I've forgotten that Ari literally had a fucking panic attack with the circumcision. And it does make sense that she needed her emotional support animals around her at this
meaning
time.
Her mom and her sister. I agree with that. I do understand that now.
I understand it. Yeah.
The surgery went well. The baby's like super. Y'all, he didn't even cry. Such a sweet little thing. Now, but Ari made a good point. She said, I'm glad I came to the U.S. because and I never thought about this. She said, there's no cultural barriers. I speak the language. Mm-hmm. I understood everything. She's like, I definitely made the right decision. So y'all, they get home, and apparently Janice and sister have been working on this for a while. And Janice says,
I know. This is an intervention.
Oh, full on intervention. They're like, so Ari and I made it.
Ari, we need to talk to you about a little bit. We need to talk to you a little bit.
Ari and I made a deal that she's going to have all the medical procedures in the U.S. from now on. Right, Ari?
No, she went, and Mom said, there's no negotiations.
No negotiations.
And Ari's kind of like, yeah, I guess so.
And the sister says, yeah, stuff stuff happens all the time, like having great medical care is kind of essential. Kid breaks her feet,
They're
whatever. They
dead.
step on a
All of a
nail.
sudden.
In Ethiopia,
Yeah.
they'll just be dead in the street. That's what I believe. But here you can just walk down the block because, we live a block from Princeton Hospital.
Yeah. The sister Kristen. Sister Kristen, all the time has come. You're gonna lecture your sister on everyone.
Today, it's not okay.
And she says,
But
you know,
you're true. Sorry. Okay, sorry.
She's like, but we share a wall. So I've heard lots of heated conversations and colorful conversations between you and Bini. And I'm sure she has heard those.
This was my thought. I went, oh my God, Janice and her husband, I forget his name, Ralph or Omar. I don't remember his name. All of their children live with them. They're never going to get rid of their kids. I don't think the brother does.
I don't think the brothers do. I think the daughter does. And I think isn't Ari the youngest?
Yeah, because her sister, her sister's too old to be living with her parents.
I agree. This is not a Latin American family.
No.
But I think Kristen has a child, doesn't she?
Maybe. So but what I'm bringing up is there's a history of the parents being overly involved in their kids' lives.
And being the safety net always.
And being the safety net always. So I don't mean that, again, not an excuse, but this is what Ari is coming up against. This is the way her whole family is and the pattern of it.
You don't have to take responsibility for the choices you make because mom and dad are going to swoop in there and they'll fix it whenever things go awry. Yeah.
Yeah, because your mom can watch your kids so you can be in somebody's music video on Sunday.
That's so appropriate for her. Yeah. Or you can go with your girlfriend to some tubing trip and you can leave your kid behind, have a little photo shoot.
Yeah, exactly.
That you want to have. Speaking of, hopefully y'all saw on Instagram the Ari perspective.
Happy Halloween indeed.
Oh, you gave me a fright. Not just with the costumes, the makeup choices.
And the faces. And what I thought? It might sound judgmental, so come at me, sissies, if it
Too
is.
late.
But I watched that and I thought, I looked at those pictures and I went, you're a mother. Like
I think you can dress sexy to be a mom. I think that's fine.
No, it's not the sexy thing. It was the intention and the tone behind it.
You're right. It was kind of like, I'm a vamp who will destroy your life. It was kind of like that. Yeah.
Like Madonna can do that. And her kids are used to going, oh, mom. And she's like, shut up, Lourdes. I'm trying to rebrand myself.
But it did feel, I think
eat your pizza.
She's just trying to be like femme fatale. Y'all, if you haven't seen them, I encourage you. They're ridiculous.
They're ridiculous. They're almost as ridiculous that we haven't even talked about the Mother Debbie glow up on The Single Life.
I called her the fourth sister of Hocus Pocus. That it's so extreme.
You know what? It's not even that
Sisters.
picture. The picture they have up there, though, is so photoshopped.
Oh.
I was really worried that Pee Wee was hanging out, but y'all, I saw
There's
the pictures.
a little bit of Pee Wee.
And I'm here to say Pee Wee's still going to be in The Single Life.
I was afraid he was gone, too.
Oh, Mom, can we go to a Cheesecake Factory again? It's my favorite.
Just us.
Just us. So, okay.
I'm going to kill one of these guys.
So they're and then Ari's kind of like, yeah, maybe you're right. And then Janice says, and Bini, she says, he's not even answering the phone. He's always out. He's out there and he's always in his clubs. It seems like he cares more about his friends than you.
They know exactly how to make Ari dance.
Sometimes I think he's building the life out there that he wants to live, not the life for you.
They workshopped that line.
They workshop that. Yeah.
They had a session over chai lattes.
Yes.
And they came up with that line.
Yes. They even had the Princeton Little Theater director came and worked it with them. And so
say it again with a little more import at the end.
Yeah. Sound a little more exasperated. Thank you. Perfect.
I taught speech for years, Janice.
Yes. So, call me if you need a debate. I know how to do LD. So, Ari brings up and she says, Bini's friends, he just has friends that are poison. Now we're finding out, this is what's a little weird about theirs. It's how long it's taken. Like, I feel like the crew of 90 Day Fiancé and Ethiopia has not done a good job showing us what Bini is doing.
I feel the same. Did they just take time off?
Because Ari says apparently their house is now a party house. They set up a mini studio, and like Bini even like moved the baby's crib. And I'm like, this is not okay if this is true.
Why didn't we see any of this?
But show us this. This is weird producing.
It is that crap that both of us hate, where it's secondhand knowledge and it's a fucking documentary show. You must have footage somewhere.
Yes. And then Janice puts that final nail when she says, I think the long-term goal is having him and you both eventually coming here. And so then, and he'll be, if he's here, he's going to be here more for your relationship. So she's telling Ari, if you bring him to America, he'll only be focused on you.
And that's the magic word, you. And I've got to say, they were so smart in the way they laid this out. Because they've been bringing, I guarantee they've been bringing it up to Ari before. They're like, maybe you go to a different place. That's just get him away from his friends.
Said it before, because Ari instead goes, you know what? We'll go to Kenya. It's my idea. I came up with this idea.
It's where we fell in love and where Avi was conceived.
They do a video chat later with her and Biniam, and I just want to say, y'all, I don't care how long you've been married or engaged or in love with someone. When they pull up on the chat and you say, are you okay? You look tired.
Yeah, not something you should say, especially if you've been not getting along.
No.
And I want to say, she lays into him, and this is... I know she regretted doing this because it's the still of the episode is Ari going like this with her finger in Bini's face and her wrinkling up like her third or fourth face that was in the moments. One of them going, and I'm thinking, boy, I bet you regret making that face.
Oh, for sure.
So he says. She's like, I just gotta tell you that
clearly you don't care how I am.
Clearly, she's in a complete Ari shame spiral. Yep. And this is number one. This is the worst time for her to make a call like this because she's not going to be reasonable. Yep. She's like, friends and family have been saying that he's having lots of parties. Now, what we finally get to is his sister, which. I can't believe we never saw. If we were to see footage of this call, that would be fantastic. Even an audio recording.
But not only does Sister Wish tell her that they're having parties, but that there's been women at the house. In the
house, and they've been staying there.
And look, I believe this because Wish doesn't want Ari to go back to the U.S. and doesn't want Bini to be left without his child.
Right. Like, so why would the sister tell him something that's not true?
I know that she doesn't love Ari, but it's not like they're trying to break them up. That wouldn't make sense.
Because then Ari would just take the child.
So I believe that.
I kind of do too. And we've said this before. He's a fuckboy and he's not going to change. As soon as she's in a different time zone, it's going to be friends over at the house. He forgets about his own responsibilities because he's a child.
And even Janice said, I know Janice wants Ari over there, but even Janice says Biniam doesn't call her for like 18 hours. Y'all, that's not okay when you're have a wife and a son. Like, you've got to check in.
And the part about, you said it before, but the part about him packing up Avi's bed was
Oh,
something.
that is like
Um,
just. I know it was a pack and play, y'all, but symbolically,
yeah.
that is not cool.
And so she starts in. She's got her empowered white woman thing. She's like, so guess what? We're not coming back to Ethiopia.
Called it. We called
We didn't want
this.
to be right,
but here we are.
Here we are. Yeah.
We predicted this a year ago.
Yep. We said she's never going back to Ethiopia again.
On their second episode.
Yeah. So she's saying, it's like, it's culturally normal for me to have friends over, and she's ready for this argument because her sister gave it to her, and she says, is it culturally normal for you to sleep with other women when you're engaged? I don't care who you fucked. I don't care, blah blah blah. You may want to get checked. You may want to get yourself checked out and tested. Which for him,
what are you talking about?
He's like, I know you're with other girls. I know, and this is y'all, this is Ari's worst insecurities are coming out. And she's like, you're surrounded by evil. All these bad influences. We need to go. She's like, me and Ari are going to go to Mombasa in Kenya, and you're either going to come with us or where our marriage is over, and we'll come up with a custody agreement. She's like, she gives him no option except for that.
Well, so I don't want to defend Ari or say, no, it's not a defense.
I actually kind of was a little Team Ari as well.
Well, it's not Team Ari. I just was surprised she said that. I surprised that in all of this, Ari kept it clear that Bini would always be in touch and be a father to his kid, and that was important to her. Clear. I'm kind of surprised by that. I kind of thought she would say shit like, and you will never see your son again. She would be that person.
That's a great point. I'm really glad she kept that out of that.
I am too. And also, I thought she would originally say, we're never coming back to Ethiopia. We're staying in the US. But she said, actually, let's move back to where we formed our relationship and start anew. And even when she said, I don't care who you fucked, that's all in the past. I don't believe her. No, I don't believe her. But the fact that she said it, I was like, what?
You know what it is? It was the concept, the way they've edited a lot of her material. They're so happy. The production crew is so happy to show you the most negative versions of Ari. I guarantee you, y'all, she's terrible to them. She's hard to work with.
Oh, for sure.
I guarantee you the whole family is probably not easy to work with.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I'm really interested to see what happens next week because I believe I think they go to Mombasa. And I think that's what's happening.
Well, Bini says, your decision is bossy and I don't like it when you're bossy. And she goes, shut the fuck up and listen. She said, you have spent the last 2 months sacrificing your family. And this is your last time to redeem yourself and wake up. And again, I was kind of like, this is what you have to, because we have this in the US. We have fuck boys are everywhere. This is what you have to tell a fuck boy.
This is the way to talk
for
to
them
fuckboys.
to get their shit together. Otherwise, they never will.
And I need to say, it's not that I disbelieve anything that happened. I'm just really upset this was not shown by production. All of this. They showed a couple of clips of them in a studio, but to have if you have footage of other women there, that's shitty not to show us.
Either you need to show us in the tell-all, or you're trying to paint Ari to look like the villain.
I know, and I kind of take umbrage for her. I can't believe I'm trying to defend Ari here.
What the fuck? Can we just move on to Jenny and Sumit before we feel too weird?
That's enough.
Diarrhea. Okay, I have a theory, y'all. Jenny and Sumit.
Oh, I know what this is, and I subscribe to the same theory.
The next, y'all, we just saw them cook this meal that Jenny's mother shaded, which if you have not seen our meme on Reality Gaze Pod, Sissy Christina outdid herself.
It's coming up. It's coming up
we
soon.
got to post that. It's so funny.
Oh, I've been posting other memes, but thank you.
No. I'm just saying, it's just so funny.
We're going to post that.
We do. And so, y'all, Mama Sumit put something in Jenny's meal.
Totally. Mama Sumit poisoned Jenny.
She 100% poisoned. Yeah.
Jenny, I make your plate special.
She puts a certain spice in or something, and she goes, with her smile. And shocker, Jenny's like, oh, I ate dinner. And then like a couple hours later, I just woke up, and I was, my feathers are feeling a little poopy back there. I thought I was going to lay an egg, and I just chicken shit.
And then Mama Sumit also will have this line that will go into the annals of history. You know what? I've had 3, 4, 5 cases of diarrhea. I'm fine. I just keep going.
I handle my work. Y'all.
3, 4, possibly 5.
This woman is brutal. And she's rough. And I don't come at us Indian sissies because we've had sissies that are either in India or from India and have told us that like the guilt and like the shame an Indian mother can put on you is next level.
Yeah.
But I want to know, is this indicative of her culture, or is this just Mama Sumit is that extra?
Or is this woman truly like Goebbels?
Yes, or like Indian sissies watching this and going, fuck. Or they're like, that's my Aunt Jane. Like, I don't know. I want to know.
Yeah. Come at us, Indian sissies. We want to know, is Mama Sumit the norm, or is she a special demon from hell?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, so that means there's just so much work to be done in the morning. We can't sleep away the day.
We're all waiting for her. So what if she's has dysentery?
So what?
Did you hear Jenny say, I have loose motion?
Yeah, so
I've never heard loose motion before
motion's a very dated term. It's like what they use in the 50s and 60s.
I have loose motion.
Yeah. I have a friend who he tried to be always like very retro, and he would call his poops motion. I was like, okay, you're 30. But
and she says, you don't seem sick. You don't look sick.
What you're glossing over, for people that don't watch the show, she's talking to Sumit, and Sumit's dad, he's not saying a word. He's just sitting there like he knows he should.
He knows not to.
Sumit, Dad Sumit, and Mama Sumit are all talking outside, and that's where Mom says, let's go and wake her up. Let's go inside and ask her. So y'all, they go in the bedroom, and they open the door, and you hear Jenny go, hi! and that's where Jenny says she was sick, and Mom's like, we came here to teach you. We have yoga, lots of work to do. And she said, it doesn't even look like you're sick. And then the editor cut to a picture of Jenny sitting up in bed. And
she looks like death. She's talking like this in a very low chicken voice.
Her skin is actually yellow. She looks full on hungover or something.
And then she's like, can I take a bath? Maybe I'll feel better. And
she takes a bath when she's mad. And y'all, you know what that means?
She's madder than a wet hen.
Yeah.
And Mama Smith's like, this all drama. It's all drama.
3
to 4 to 5 bouts of diarrhea. I'm fine.
And Sumit says, you can say it's drama, but she got up out of respect to you. And Mom goes, I'm not letting her off the hook. I mean, do something. Come on, there's a task.
So later on, I think this is later on the day, Sumit's like told Jenny, my mom has a plan for you. And Jenny's like, well, yeah, she does. Your mom has a plan for me.
Yeah, she wants me to die.
Part 2 was the poisoning.
Yeah. It's like, no, a good plan. She's like, I don't think so. Don't think so.
I will say, Jenny's being a fucking trooper about all this.
She's being a fucking simp is what she's being.
True. That's true. But I'm saying,
she is being a trooper.
all to get baby boy Sumit. God.
Oh, all to get.
Y'all, I didn't think we could fuck with Jenny more, but we're making her do yoga because apparently Mama Sumit was a yogi, and we're going to do yoga.
Why is it Sumit up there doing yoga? Mom and Dad are
That
where's
is
Sumit?
true.
It's not like he's working at a job.
Mama Sumit says, well, she has aged a lot, and yoga will help her not to get sick.
Yes, she's aged. It will keep her healthy. If she was doing yoga, she wouldn't have gotten sick from the first. I did. Listen, I once taught a yoga class, and I shat all over the class. I cleaned it up, taught some yoga, and then actually had a heart attack and shit myself again. But I finished that class. Namaste.
I finished that and said namaste, and then a little shit came out.
Namaste.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
At the end, I was knee deep in shit, but I kept going.
Yes. And so, so Mom's like, if she can't do it, I guess she'll have to go back to bed.
So they're doing yoga. They're not doing easy yoga, like goat yoga, like people have done. Y'all, she does like the full-on back bend and shit.
Not even downward dog, which would be hard enough for Jenny. Hard enough for me.
This isn't a Santa Monica yoga flow. This is
not. This is like an advanced class at Yoga Works with that British lady who would kick your ass. Remember her on Larchmont?
There's no warrior pose. We've moved way past that.
This is, I don't know, y'all. It's she's doing all this stuff, and Mom literally glides on her back, puts her hands, and just does a motherfucking back bend. And Jenny's over there going, "Oh God, too much! Too
much!" There's no strength in her. This is all trolling, y'all. They're trolling the fuck out of poor Jenny. I did say poor Jenny because this was brutal.
Yeah, Jenny's like, I'm impressed with her parents. And their mom says, she has become rusty. Around that age, you normally do. I think I'm much better than she is. Her. Yes.
Yes, she does say, I think I'm much more better than she is.
Then I thought, Poodle, I went, okay, that's it. They're done.
No,
what more
we weren't done.
Do to this woman? What more can we fucking do to this woman?
And then we put mustard oil in her nose,
which
they insert.
Has to burn.
It has to. They engage in what I call pharyngeal flossing.
A good term.
Like going up into the nose, in behind the pharynx, and out the mouth, y'all. Because if you've ever neti potted, I neti pot this way. I don't know if you do this. I'll go up my nose. And I'll snort it, and it'll go up around, and I'll spit it out. It feels like you're drowning a little bit. I was told to do that.
You have to get used to it. Mine just goes up one nostril and then goes up the other. That's the way they have me do it.
Well, for me, it's so important to get back to the pharynx because that's where all the inflammation is. You should try that. Have you not done that kind?
I haven't in a while. I'm happy to do it, but I'm just saying that. It's a very
you spit it out your mouth.
At least in the U.S. in neti, what we do here is you get
it's liquid with
water with like
saline.
a salt solution, or like I like the X Clear. That's my favorite.
I'd never seen pharyngeal flossing where you insert it into your nose and it comes out of your mouth,
and you're literally holding
a
piece. You're holding, you know how your kid would put a piece of spaghetti up their nose and out their mouth as a kid?
I never did that.
No, I never did that either. But y'all, they're having to put their finger back in the back of their mouth and grab this thing. And so when they're grabbing it, I'm not going to do it on here because if you have a gag reflex,
I couldn't watch.
Jake and I are not familiar with the gag reflex.
Gone a long time ago.
I lost that in college. But they're like hawking up, sounding like they're about to throw up. I did put my hand over the screen at one point.
I couldn't watch.
So gross.
I couldn't watch. But
they just kind of like you floss your teeth. They're just taking this cord back and forth and kind of
Pharyngeal flossing.
scrub. I bet it does work. I bet it really does scrub out your sinuses.
Yeah.
Sumit's
sound like
dad
Jenny.
even
Yeah.
had Jenny's dad even had blood in his.
Yikes.
And so they do this, and the mom eyes are crying, looks terrible, and then she looks at Jenny and she goes,
Your
"You
turn."
try." And for once, Jenny goes,
I'm not doing that shit. No. I'm not doing. And she's like, how will you keep young? Jenny has the best line of the show. Face creams?
"Oh, face creams. I get my gift with purchase. And then, yeah, that's good." And she's like, no. And she finally, mom keeps saying, she's like, next time.
Oh.
It was one of the
couldn't.
grossest and funniest things I've ever seen on this show.
I can't believe I had to watch nasal/pharyngeal flossing. I never thought that would see.
Again, y'all, if you're not watching Toe, I have to say, don't
What are you
just
doing with
listen
your
to
life?
us. Don't just listen to us. Watch it. It's so good. It's so good.
It's great. That's the show.
That's the show, everybody. You can go to realitygazepod.com. Hey, what does Poodle love more than anything, y'all?
I can tell you what a lot of things I love,
Review.
but I will say review.
If you can go on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to, I think just Apple does it though, but if you can leave us a 5-star review, come at us on Spotify. Also, if you're on a Supercast, you can now integrate that into Spotify. So any of our Spotify sissies that like Supercast, you probably know already how to do that. You can listen to our paid content there. Our Reality Gaze Patreon and Supercast is our Reality Gaze extra content. For $8, you don't have to listen to the commercials. We got a Bi-Curious coming up.
Real Housewives of SLC next week.
Lots coming for you. Poodle, we call these people lonely hearts because aren't we all just lonely hearts looking for love in all the wrong places?
Yes, and if you've ever sat in a wedding planning situation and you have two queens standing across from you and judging you harshly and laughing at you, especially in a different language.
This feels familiar.
Call us.
Call us.